Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's episode number 78 of the Beer Chicken Podcast. I'm one of y'all hosts, Mr. Span, and I'm here with the homeboy Cliff, aka DJ Neff. Say people fan when you get finished cracking the fuck up.
I had a joke. What's up, y'all? Glad to be here, man. But I had a joke, and I didn't want to interrupt.
What's the joke, man? Get the jokes off, nigga.
I feel like at the orchestra, how you see the you ever see on Tom and Jerry where Tom was like he had the little sticks and Jerry wanted to get the toothpicks and he wanted to like lead. What's good, man? How you feel?
I'm all right, man. Just living and trying to get this money and trying to podcast and trying to save some money. I was telling you earlier about how a nigga might be getting rid of the cable or whatever, man, and everything surrounding that. But other than that, man, it's just chilling, man. I did some podcasting last night. Felt like I was cooking last night, man. I and YouTube took the whole fucking video down, man. It's some bullshit. Let me tell y'all something, man.
Tell us something. Tell us.
Let's get this shit out of the way, man. Like, okay, so we record this show live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope, right? And every now and again, we may use some audio, we may use some video from some other sources to kind of like, talk about the things that are happening in sports and politics and media, whatever it is that we're talking about, right? And so last night, as I was doing the Span Report, I used 1 minute and 54 seconds of the monologue of Bill Burr on Saturday Night Live, right? Mind you,
which is good.
Which was good. Mind you, I was podcasting live for 2 hours last night. They took the whole fucking video down over that 1 minute, 58 seconds of me using Bill Burr, man. That's complete and utter bullshit, bro. Like, I get that y'all want to protect your intellectual property and stuff like that. I have no qualms with that. But if I'm having a larger discussion about what's going on in the world and I'm using a bit of what the hell y'all had on there to talk about the shit, man, come on, man. Like, to take off the whole damn 2 hour podcast, I thought that was some bullshit, bro. Real talk. And y'all gonna hear about it. Y'all gotta hear me bitch about it. All right. So yeah, man. Other than that, it's good. Everything's all right.
So back to sports.
I'm just saying. But before we do that, let me let everybody know how to get in touch with us over here at the Beer Chicken Podcast so they can chop it up with us here while we're doing the show, man. Hit us up on our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages, and of course, those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to here in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespanreport.com. That's feedback@thespanreport.com. Leave us those emails, and of course, we'll read and reply to those emails here live on the show. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Span. So go ahead, follow me there, chop it up with your man Span throughout the week. And how can they get in touch with you, homie?
DJ Neff, Twitter and the gram. DJ Neff Music. I'm sorry, DJ Neff Music, Twitter and the gram. Holla.
Indeed. Also, man, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to rock with us over here and let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Span Report Podcast Network and the Beer and Chicken Podcast specifically, man. But yeah, we got that out of the way. What's been going on with you, man?
Everything. I'm tired, and I'm hungry. I just cooked a whole bunch of food, and this is all I got. One wing, and I can't wait till this show is over because I'm gonna go and smash. But
man, y'all should have seen this nigga scarfing his wing before we went live, though, man. This nigga was on here like, like, dog, it's just chicken.
You make love to when you eat. I don't even know why you even trying to throw that at me, okay? I don't even know why you try to throw that at me.
It's just chicken, baby.
Whatever. I gotta say, I saw your post on Facebook about those shoes. It's the reason why everybody slept on them, fool.
Why is that?
Because they booty. They was buy one get one free. Was they buy?
No, sir. And they not booty, but like, I mean, judging from some of the shits I've seen walking around, I'm not even I'm not going to even entertain that shit with a real response.
It's nothing to entertain. It's nothing to entertain. But no, man, let's get into it, man. I was going to hit these scores of these games from all this football today.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, do that, because I done broke somebody's heart on the fantasy football.
Good. And you can. They're going to be upset. And
I still not watched the football game at all this year.
I have watched some, like portions. So we're going to start from the top. We got the Broncos and the Patriots. This was a big game for my man because he's never beat the Broncos before. Hey, wifey. She can't hear me, can she?
She's not even here. I was looking at my television.
You totally look like you was talking to somebody. Broncos beat the Patriots 18-12. Hometown killer Bears, bear down. Let's get it. Beat your team 23-16.
What team? Who they beat?
The Panthers.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Again, I told you I ain't been watching football, man.
I know. They still lost. The Titans and the Texans, big game. Titans still undefeated. They were actually down for some time.
Undefeated? Really?
Undefeated. And guess what? They won. They put up 42-36. Great game. OT as well.
Damn.
Bengals and Colts 27-31. Colts walked away with the win. Falcons and Vikings. Falcons beat the Vikings 40-23. Thank God. The lesser people that win in our division, the better. Washington and Giants, 1 point game. Giants won 20-19. Ravens and Eagles, another very close game. 30-28 Ravens. Browns and Steelers. We know that the Browns definitely were going to lose that game 7-38. Surprising win from the Lions against the Jaguars. 34-16.
I kind of want to talk about them a little bit today, but go ahead.
The Jets got shut out by the Dolphins 24-0. No surprises there. And my favorite game of the day, second to the Bears, beating Carolina. The Packers lost to the Buccaneers. A, the Packers lost. B, the Packers lost. And you know what C is? No. But no, and Tom Brady got a W. So he helped me out because now the Packers are now undefeated. I mean, they now lost the game and we're tied with them in our division. And tonight's game is the Rams against the 49ers in the next hour or so. So
yeah. Speaking of that Tampa Bay Green Bay game.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like I said, I haven't really been watching fantasy football, right?
Who's your man on the team?
On what team?
Who, like the Tampa? Anybody? You got somebody on there?
Here's the thing. Right before kickoff, I picked up Rob Gronkowski.
Okay, so you got one touchdown and 78 yards.
Yeah, but like those are points I wasn't about to get because the guy that I had wasn't playing today. So I looked, I'm like, well, shit, Gronk's out there? Let me go ahead and pick him up right before kickoff. And I'll be damned if Gronk didn't go out there and like get numbers. And I was like, I know the nigga, whoever it is, because I don't know the dude. But I'm like, whoever it is I'm playing against right now, I know he's sick. Like, man, ain't this some bullshit? And how you pick him up right before he was a free agent, baby.
Hey, yo, and let's hope that whoever you played against, their quarterback wasn't Aaron Rodgers because he threw 2 interceptions and he only had 160 yards, no touchdowns.
Aaron Rodgers, whoever the quarterback was for Minnesota tonight.
Okay.
But, yeah, like I don't know. I still may lose the game, but I know he's sick about them extra points that I was getting out of it because I was about to be like a donut. I wasn't gonna get shit, and then I put in Gronk and like, oh shit, look at this.
Gronk did his thing, man.
And again, I have not watched a game of football this year. I am fucking 4-1 in the fantasy football, bro.
Well, good luck, man. I mean, honestly, I watched the last fourth quarter of the Bears game today. I watched the first game of the Bears this season. Other than that, I'm with you, man. I haven't allocated time to sports. I did watch 3 of the championship games with basketball. Other than that, and as much of a baseball fan I am, the times they play have not worked out for me to sit in front of the TV. So, matter of fact, talking about baseball, one of the things I definitely wanted to just touch on just a little bit was the Houston Astros. As a segue here, ESPN.com, 2020 MLB playoffs, 3 off-season questions for Houston Astros after historic comeback falls short. The Houston Astros are the second team ever to force a Game 7 after falling behind 3-0 in the playoffs. Now they're the first team to do that and then to lose Game 7. First of all, there won't be any 2004 Boston Red Sox magic for Houston, which started the year with a sign-stealing scandal and ended their regular season with a negative 500 record, but looked a lot more like defending American League champions in October. But it'll be Tampa Bay who moves on to the World Series. This to me is kind of. Do you think they really? I feel like they deserve it. The whole situation. I know we spoke on this when this happened last year with how Houston got caught up with the cheating and da. And honestly, I was keeping tabs of this game on my phone the other day, and the fact that they lost, to me, I'm like, yeah, they should totally lose because they still haven't felt the wrath of what their consequences for what happened last season. That's just me. The fact that they came back, they were just playing good baseball, but this is what should have happened personally, because, the whole thing around, sign stealing and stuff like that. I've heard a lot of people say, well, Cliff, a lot of teams, are watching for, what, the signs are and all that stuff to try to coordinate with, what they think is going to happen. And I agree, but they didn't go as far as in depth as what Houston did that we know of. Of course, we only can go off what we know. So the fact that they came back, down three games, and I did think about when the Boston Red Sox did it, they came back but that was the damn World Series, what they did. But them losing this game, this is what should have happened. I still don't feel like they have gotten what they deserve with what happened with the scandal. So that's all. Just a small snippet. That was just a little bit my opinion there.
Yeah. Like with that though, I don't know. I guess because although I do like baseball, I'm just not as invested. And so,
okay, right.
Being honest, I'm just not as invested. And so, right. Like the fact that okay, so yeah, they came, they were down 3 games. They were down 3-0 and they almost came back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, truthfully speaking, that's just what's supposed to happen. And that's what typically happens when you go down 3-0. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Whoever took the early advantage typically goes ahead and closes that out. Even if it does go to a Game 7, typically the team who had the early momentum closed the series out. And so it basically just happened in the way in which most people would have normally expected it to, that they would have been losing anyway. They were already down 3-0. Nobody expected them to force a Game 7. And even if they did, again, precedent says that the team who had the early momentum was going to win that series. That's why it's so rare for a team to come back from 3 down. So, yeah, man. The fact that they were able to kind of rebound from that, and again, we also talking about this being an abbreviated season. So they only play like 60 games this year, and I honestly was looking more towards I was looking forward more to a possible red line series between the Cubs and the White Sox because the White Sox play a really good ball up until maybe the last week of the season, and then they dropped because they were leading the division, and then they dropped it to the wild card. Same thing, whatever, nigga. Because guess what? We both went home the same weekend.
and I told everybody, listen, if the Cubs and or the Sox go to the playoffs, we're not going to get past the first round.
We both went home the same weekend. So
one day apart.
So that's really what I was looking forward to, there possibly being a Chicago World Series or whatever. But other than that, man, I'd be like, okay, so that's the end of that, and that's in baseball. Giving a fuck about baseball,
And just for our picks, I know you can care less, but Tampa is going to the World Series for the first time. Congrats to them, and I have them winning. I do. I have them winning.
Yeah, has that been determined?
What'd you say?
Who are they playing against? So
the Dodgers and Atlanta Game 7. They have a Game 7.
Okay.
So, but I don't care who wins that. I have Tampa winning the whole thing. So
okay, yeah, like I said, I'm like I don't really care, but
yeah,
I think that like once the Sox was out of it, I'm like, all right, that's the end of that one. Move on to something else, you know. Yeah, so yeah. Now I know we got a couple stories. It's been some time since we did we last did a show, and one of the things we were talking about, or we were thinking about talking about, was the fact that Deion Sanders took the job at Jackson State.
Dun, 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 dun. Late, man. Like, you should have your finger on the trigger, man.
I didn't think that was gonna be like it deserved all that, but okay, you know.
Yeah.
But so Deion Sanders takes the job at Jackson State. We get the story here from ESPN. It says Deion Sanders will be the next head football coach at Jackson State. He announced on his new podcast. Everybody's got a podcast now. 21st and Prime on Sunday. God called me to Jackson State, Sanders said on the first episode of the podcast, according to a transcription from the Clarion Ledger. Sanders, a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame after a stellar NFL career during which he also played Major League Baseball, is a first-time head coach at the collegiate level. It's very big for Jackson State University, athletic director Ashley Robinson said, according to the Clarion Ledger's transcription. Not only for Jackson State University, this is a very big for the country right now. Very big for the state of Mississippi. To Coach Prime, Jackson State University, a blue blood program full of Hall of Famers, is just a great time. Currently serving as the offensive coordinator at Trinity Christian in Cedar Hill, Texas, Sanders, who starred as a defensive back in the NFL, will finish out the season there before beginning preparations for Jackson State's season, which has been pushed to the spring by the coronavirus pandemic. Thomas Hudson, Jackson's acting president, said on the podcast that the move was a result of the grace of God and history of Jackson State's football, according to the Clarion Ledger. So, question to you, Cliff, is whether or not you think that Deion Sanders moved to coach an HBCU along with McCool Mockers going to play basketball at Howard, whether or not this like actually lends any credence to there being a movement towards more influential people with sports going towards like going to HBCUs. What do you think about that?
And that's like Mikey, the young boy who plays with Bronny. He said he's gonna for sure go to HBCU as well. I don't know about Deion Sanders' coaching ability. I mean, to me, he's the best corner of all time. I don't know how that is going to transition into him teaching somebody how to be a corner. I know that Devin Hester, when he got drafted to the Bears actually hired Deion Sanders to try to teach him how to catch. That wasn't as successful as we probably wanted it to be because he was just an okay wideout. So I mean, if he has the ability to relate to the kids in a way where they can, understand how to play the game, maybe even remotely as good as him, I think it'll turn out good. I'm really all for, giving back. And then you have somebody like Deion Sanders, when a lot of times somebody on his platform, to me, and this is just my opinion, he's like the Michael Jordan of corners. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan is not going to coach shit. Let's just get that straight. So for Deion to come back and to give a little bit of the sauce, I think it's an amazing thing. And the fact that he's going to do it at a HBCU, shout out to, Sweetness, because his face is slapped all over Jackson State, of course.
As it should be.
I think it's going to be nice. I hope they win, because we play Jackson State in the Classic, in Memphis. So, we going to dog the shit out of him when we see him. But at the end of the day,
yeah, as Tennessee State alone, I mean, I was like, good for Jackson State. You know what I'm saying? But like, there was only so much.
You'd be like,
yeah, like it was only so much that I could have for Jackson State. Get Deion Sanders, like, all right, I guess, man.
Right.
But no, truthfully speaking, I was like, I had been watching and kind of listening to some of the commentary around this, and Bomani Jones said something that I thought was pretty profound about this. He was like, yo, if Deion Sanders going to Jackson State is about the kids, then it'll be a success. But if Deion Sanders going to Jackson State is about Deion Sanders, then it might not work out as well as people would hope for it to. And it was interesting that, like, they played this clip for him. They played a clip of Bomani saying this on First Take. And Deion's response was instantaneously to call Bomani Jones a hater, right? Like, they call him a hater. But the truth of the matter is, for most of Deion Sanders' career, Deion Sanders has been about
Dion Sanders.
So for him to go to Jackson State, he's like, yeah, okay, maybe it'll draw some kids that they probably wouldn't have, had access to because of the name that Deion Sanders comes with.
Right.
But ultimately, he still's got to coach these kids.
Right.
They still gotta have the instruction. And so, as far as it being a thing where I think more higher blue chip recruits or whatever will start considering HBCUs, I'm still not sure about it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's one coach at one school, and so we start seeing more. I think we have to start seeing more of this happen to call it some sort of influential thing, as opposed to, well, Deion's going, so all these players about to start flocking there. I still don't believe that to be the case, because again, a lot of the HBCUs don't have the resources that a lot of the Power 5 conference schools have that will attract a lot of these kids. And it is still all about being on TV, being on primetime games, and being seen by NFL scouts. And we can sit up here all day long and talk about how if you've got the talent, that scouts will find you. The kids still want to go where they're going to be taken care of. And with the resource gap that there is between HBCUs and a lot of those Power 5 schools, right now I still see the Power 5 schools getting the bulk of these blue chip athletes, or 3-star athletes even, going to those schools as opposed to going to an HBCU.
I agree. And I think you mentioned earlier around, how these, the blue chip guys are, now committing specifically to, HBCUs. Will this have the same reflection with football, though? I don't know. On a football team, you have 75 people. So it's crazy. They got, backup of a backup of a backup. But I think that if there's this notion and this thing in the air now where kids are making decisions outside of, hey, I want to make sure I'm going to be seen on TV, they might get some what do you want to call it? Some decent athletes. I think that some of the HBCUs honestly get good athletes. They're just not going to get the ones who have their names slapped on some billboard. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing. I'm excited for Dion. I really am. And I believe that Dion will make an impact. And you know what I really think, what I think about when I think about the situation with Dion going to JSU is I hope that some of these other Hall of Famers can do the same thing. Will decide to go and coach or whatever the case is, and see, even though it's about the sport, I believe that because of his path, he'll be able to help some kids out outside of football on making better decisions in life. That is one of the biggest things that I see, because Dion tried to kill himself. He drove a Ferrari off of a mountain. He survived, so a lot of that I think will have a good thing for the kids.
And the other thing I wanted to just kind of point out, though, HBCUs do produce really good motherfucking football players.
Yes, they do.
They go into the NFL unheralded, and then you look up and this dude who you never fucking heard of is producing in the NFL.
Yes.
And it happens quite often. There's a lot of guys in the NFL who went to HBCUs who produced at a high level, who weren't necessarily heralded coming out of college, because a lot of people haven't heard of these schools, but then they get into the NFL and they start surprising a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, it's a plus to get a player or an ex-player of Deion's caliber to go back to an HBCU to decide to coach, and it brings a lot of attention to the HBCUs as a whole. But I still need to see more as far as other institutions either seeing a high-profile name or getting a high-profile recruit to come to those schools to play for those schools before I actually would believe that this is becoming a thing.
Right.
Yo, the HBCU, people are gravitating more towards the HBCUs because of the dissatisfaction with everything else, socially, politically, things, man. So yeah.
Speaking of coaching,
yeah,
real quick, Doc going back out east. He got fired one day and hired the next. And yo, they get and you got me. You caught me off guard. Just real quick, and we could just go blow by this. Doc signed a 5-year contract. I love that. A lot of people thought that Doc wasn't going to necessarily. I didn't know if Doc was going to get signed that fast. And the other thing was, I was really interested in seeing how long somebody was going to sign him for. ESPN.com, Doc Rivers agrees to a 5-year deal with the Sixers. After a rapid courtship and negotiation, Doc Rivers reached an agreement on a 5-year deal to become the next coach for the Sixers. His deal officially announced Saturday, just passed. 3 days after the Clippers fired him, he'll return back to the Atlantic Division. Just real quick, the Sixers general manager, I didn't know this, was Elton Brand. And you know, they basically knew that they wanted to go after Doc, period. So I think it's going to be a good deal. Young team, needs somebody with some good leadership. I think they're going to make moves. Seriously.
Doc Rivers is one of the premier coaches in the NBA. It's a damn shame that, you know, like he got shown the boot real quick after that flame out in the playoffs. They just got and the reason why I say like it's kind of tough that they fired him so soon. Like I get that he's been there for a minute.
Okay.
But the thing is, they just did get Kawhi Leonard. They just did get Paul George. And just like with all of the things that are going on in the NBA right now, like with the way that they had like the bubble and deciding whether or not they were going to play or not, and like and the gap in between when they actually were playing and when they weren't. It was a lot going on. And so I don't necessarily know if I believe it's fair to have a team where you got two, like, one's a superstar caliber player, one's a star player. But you bring
Kawhi and Paul?
Kawhi's a superstar.
Okay.
I would say Paul George is a star player.
Yeah.
You bring these two players in, and then you lose in the playoffs, and the first thing you do is jettison the coach. I think like it would have made more sense if they'd have gave him another year, right? I don't think the Clippers should have fired Doc Rivers. I just don't. I don't think that they should have fired him. But because they fired him, and because other people within the league see Doc Rivers as a quality coach, is why he wasn't sitting on the shelf that long.
Facts.
Like, hold on. You're like, y'all doing what? Like, hold on.
Who available?
Got too much dip on your chip.
Like,
I knew you was gonna do that.
Because that's what it was, man. Like,
I knew you was
all
gonna
right.
do that.
And so for Doc Rivers to be like available, yeah, man, I couldn't see him being on the shelf too much longer, unless of course he wanted to be on the shelf, right? Like, you know what? I think I'm gonna take a year off. I don't know if I really want to coach. And so yeah, him going to Philadelphia, he's got a young team. He's got Joel Embiid. He's got Ben Simmons still there. That's the core of the team.
Yeah.
They've kind of underachieved with their talent level there. It'll be interesting to see, of course, how far he's able to push this team in the Eastern Conference. Because they've been seen sort of as like a favorite in the East over the course of the last 2 seasons. Like people have real high expectations of the 76ers. So it'll be interesting to see what Doc can do with that team. I just thought it was like, I thought the Clippers were, I didn't think they should have fired him. I really don't. I think it was unfair for them to fire him considering.
Okay, we ain't got to stick on this long. I'll just say this, Doc, and I don't like blaming Doc because it's a team thing, but Doc has had squads.
Yeah,
I mean straight up CP3 Blake. I mean they had squads. He had deep squads too. So honestly, I'd rather see Doc go and start new than to be dealing with the same thing over and over again with the Clippers. You said they got Kawhi, you know, basically. They didn't give him a chance to nurture Kawhi. But it's like, yo, you know what? He done had so many superstars on his team and great people built around him. If I was Doc, I would be like, you know what? Hey, cool with me, you know. And because, like you said, I totally agree with Doc is you know, his value is immeasurable. So I didn't think that he was going to be out there long. And I'm kind of glad he's going to a young team and not like a Houston, you know, where you got like a Harden and, you know, something like that. So that's it.
And the other part I wanted to say, because I know a lot of people were talking about this, I believe the last show that we did when the Brooklyn Nets signed Steve Nash. And there was a talk around whether or not it was racist or like, you know, for Steve Nash to get that job. And then we see that, hold on, because that was a lot of like, as we were talking about that, a lot of folks were like, yo, man, like he ain't never had a coaching job, this, that, and the other.
Yeah. That's the premise. Yeah.
And we talked about that, right? And so, like, off top, Doc Rivers get fired from this job. He's got a new job going over to Philadelphia. And then a team that many people saw had a shot at the championship this year, the LA Clippers, what do? They go out and they hire Ty Lue. So, again, like, it's one of those things where I was just like, yo, man, like, we can't always jump the gun on that. It was the circumstances surrounding that particular team, right? And I know you got your face all like, man, what are you talking about right now? But again, I was thinking about that as I saw like coaches moving around, and most of them, you know, being black coaches. So there you go. But yeah, we gonna. I think we just gonna eternally disagree.
You just go. We're gonna go to the next topic.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the next topic, and I think this is gonna be the meat of the show right here. The LA Lakers won their 17th overall NBA championship. LeBron James has won his 4th overall NBA championship, and he's also been in the finals 10 times. I think the only player who has more appearances in the NBA finals outside of LeBron James is Bill Russell. And there's another player that was also on the Boston Celtics. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
I have those statistics right here.
Okay.
Pull you up right quick. Boop, boop, boop. And I was going to speak on that too. Funny that you're talking about it. Lord have mercy. I saved it on purpose. Okay, LeBron. Jesus Christ, where's it at? Here we go. LeBron James. Here's how he lines up as far as his NBA Finals milestones. He's number 1 in triple doubles, number 2 in points, 2 in 3-pointers made, 2 in steals, 2 in assists, 2 in field goals made, 4 in rebounds, 4th in double doubles, tied for 4th in games played. Okay, 6th in blocks. And you are correct on everything you just said as far as his appearances in the finals. Yeah. But he's 4 and 6 in the finals.
Yeah. And so of course.
Hold on. Drum roll, please.
So check this out, man. Of course, with the Lakers winning the NBA championship this year, and we've had this conversation quite a few times.
Sure.
People, you know, the conversation starts turning into whether or not LeBron James is the GOAT, right? Seen quite a few memes going around, man. Like I saw this one meme, it was talking about like Mike only faced 10 Hall of Famers. Mike only like he never faced any dynasties in the finals, forgetting the fact that Mike was the dynasty in the finals. Like you start seeing like these like this retroactive trashing of the NBA around the time that Jordan was like pretty much running the league, right? And of course, like Nick Wright, who's a Fox Sports commentator, real big LeBron James sycophant. Like I'm gonna just call him what it is. He's a real big LeBron James sycophant, and he had this thing on. On Fox Sports. Actually, they posted this on Twitter. There's a video of this, so hopefully, fucking YouTube won't like ban this video because we playing the shit that they put on Twitter. But I'm just real talk because that's some bullshit. But I'm gonna pull up this video, and Isaiah Thomas actually agreed with this shit and called it facts. Which also like just kind of like screams,
oh my god,
which screams like, all right, nigga, you still salty. But let me go ahead and pull this up so you guys can watch right along. Let's see what the hell they talking about. I thought I had it already up. What the fuck, man? Well, this is awkward.
Tell you something. I'm so hungry. This is stupid. I just took the meat off before we started.
All right, let's
going to smash.
This is 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
3 years on.
And
I've never wanted to do what I'm about to do. I've always, to quote the great Michelle Obama, I've always tried to go high when others go low. I have always tried to run a positive campaign, a campaign celebrating the greatness of LeBron James, as opposed to what I'm about to have to do right now, which is tell you what Chris Broussard and his ilk, what the media does not want you to know about Michael Jordan. Because here are some facts. Before Scottie Pippen got there, a total and complete loser, not just never got out of the first round, not just 1-9 in the playoffs, never even above 500 in the regular season. Can I have point number 2, please? Larry Bird, the best player when he walked into the league. You know how many times Michael beat Larry in the playoffs? I don't mean in a series. I mean in a single playoff game. The answer to that is 0. But wait, there's more. In Jordan's entire career, there were 3 super teams in the East: the Celtics, the Pistons, and the Magic. His career playoff series record against those 3 teams, 2-6. But against everybody else, 23-1. Speaking of the East, which Chris Broussard mentioned in regards to LeBron James, once the Pistons were gone, do you know how many teams in the East, Jordan's entire title run, had more than one Hall of Famer? 1. The team Michael was on. He had Pippen, and then he had Pippen and Rodman. And then the last point Broussard loves to make, which is we pretend Jordan's career was 6 years long. Everyone ate on Michael's watch. We just pretend it didn't happen. Can we show guys who won rings in years Michael Jordan played? Well, Larry won, Kareem won, Magic won, Isaiah won, Hakeem won, Drexler won, Shaq won, Kobe won, David Robinson, Tim Duncan won. I'm not even including the years Michael retired. Those are only years Michael Jordan played basketball. So the media doesn't want you to know this. These are all facts.
Can I go next?
Look it up. Oh, hold on. Wait a second. Wait. So I'm just, because I would agree that if we are deciding the only years of Jordan's career that count are the years he won championships, well, that's a hell of a resume. But that's not how this works. You can't get the points you scored the other years, the MVPs you won the other years, the defensive player of the year you won the other years, but then say, but nobody ate. Nobody ate. He's still waiting. The only time he ever beat Larry Bird in the playoffs was when he was coaching the Pacers. The only time the Bulls faced during the title runs a real contender in the East, the first time they faced them, the Magic, they lost to him. That year doesn't count, though, either, because the rules are we can only talk about what he does well. He has no weaknesses. And don't you dare mention three-point shooting, to quote Broussard. Why can't I mention that? Because that's a weakness, and that hurts my point, damn it. So listen, I've never wanted to go negative, Broussard. I've never wanted to do this campaign. But what the media doesn't want you to know about Michael Jordan could fill a damn library, and that's my case.
All right.
Can I just say one thing? Because I'm not even going to give my energy to this.
I am.
How old is he? Like, how old are you? You sound like you were born in like 97. Like, straight up. Like,
So,
he's okay. Go ahead. You go ahead. This is just your thing. Go ahead. My bad.
yeah, I'm about to cook.
Since you about to cook,
listen.
I'm about to eat.
Yeah, I'm about to cook. Let me pull the camera up. So I need y'all to see
I was taking notes. Look, I'm sitting here taking notes.
I need y'all to see me right now. I need y'all to see the seriousness on my fucking face right now. As a player, I think LeBron James is great. And what I really hate right now the most is that y'all about to make me agree with Stephen A. motherfucking Smith. I think LeBron James is great. He's the second greatest player I've ever seen play the motherfucking game, man. Truthfully, I got him number 2 behind Mike. I think he's dope. The problem that I have with a lot of you people who like to talk about LeBron James being the GOAT is that y'all try to have the shit both fucking ways. Y'all would talk about the league being trashed around the time that Michael Jordan was and the Bulls were running the dynasty of the 1990s. But then at the same time, I'm seeing these same people talk about, well, you know, the Bulls were also like they were losing. Michael never really beat any great teams, right? So let me get this straight. He couldn't beat the great teams, but the league was weak when he was playing those great teams, right? Like, and who the fuck is this calling me? Somebody's calling the hotline right now. Hold on, I'm cooking. Hold on, y'all. Hold on a second. Y'all calling the hotline, and I'm cooking right now. Call back in a minute, right? But no, y'all try to have it both ways. Like he's talking about, like I saw this on social media quite a bit. Like, yo, man, the Bulls is getting swept by motherfucking by the Milwaukee Bucks by a nigga like Sidney Moncrief. You mean Hall of Famer Sidney Moncrief? Like, I get it. If you don't know what the fuck they, you know, what their game was, and you weren't privy to what the game was like when they were playing, I get that. But to like act as though they were actual fucking scrubs, and then at the same time Mike was a scrub when he was beating them, like y'all can't have it both ways, man. And y'all try to have it both ways. The league can't be great when Mike's losing and trash when Mike's winning. And then on top of that, when it comes to when LeBron James was taking these, you know, he was taking like these teams to the NBA Finals, they were trashing. Like, who was like when LeBron James went to the NBA Finals against the San Antonio Spurs earlier in his career? Who was the greatest team in the East Conference? Who was the team that he had the monster in the East that he had to beat? The Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons. And like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like here in Detroit, a lot of Detroit Pistons fans like to tell you, man, we went to 6 straight Eastern Conference Finals. Nobody gives a fuck about y'all going to Eastern Conference Finals, brother. They only care that you win the championship. That's the only thing that people care about. You. And so even with LeBron James going to his 10th NBA Finals, even LeBron James told y'all, it don't mean shit if I don't win it. It don't mean a damn thing. Now, what I would say is this. I'm not one of those people who will never consider whether or not LeBron James can pass Michael Jordan. I'm not one of those people. I think what LeBron James has to do, because he has lost more finals than he's won, even though he's been in a lot of them, he lost most of them. If he can get to a 500 record in the NBA Finals, if he can get 6 chips, because right now he needs to get 6 chips in order for him to even be like at 500. If he can get to 6, then I'll consider it. But the idea that like Isaiah Thomas will be out here talking about these are facts. Like, come on, man. We already know what the fuck that's about. You and Mike got a personal beef going on, man. Like, even with Isaiah Thomas talking that shit, like, there's a clip they tried to make where they said Jordan didn't win anything until Scottie Pippen became a decent number 2, right? How many championships has LeBron won until he got to like by himself, until he got him a star? LeBron James didn't win a championship until he got to Miami. Who did he have in Miami with him? Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. LeBron James didn't win a championship in Cleveland until he had what else? Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving. LeBron James won a championship in LA with Anthony Davis, who's right now the best big man in the fucking game. So miss me with the shit about Jordan needing a number 2. LeBron James needing a number 2 and sometimes a number 3 too. Miss me with the shit. You know, you got a lot of shit going on over there, bro. But
I'm sitting here. What do you mean?
I'm hearing dings and all this other shit. But the point that I'm really making is this, man. Like, I get that, like, you know, LeBron James is, especially for like the younger folks, I get that LeBron James is probably the best player you've ever seen, right? I get all of that. This idea that like 4 championships in 10 seasons, or where he's won where he's going to the championship round 10 times and he's lost 6 of them bitches, and we're supposed to forget that, is crazy to me. Is absolutely crazy to me. And I get that LeBron James is great. I consider LeBron James great. It's not a diss to LeBron James to say that LeBron James is the second greatest player I've ever seen play. It's not a diss. But so many of y'all take it as a diss if we don't put this motherfucking number 1. I love LeBron James as a player. But like this revisionist history that a lot of y'all are engaging in, talking about like, well, the league was whack when the Bulls was winning championships and he ain't played no Hall of Famers. The teams he was playing with never went to the NBA Finals again. it's bullshit, man. A lot of the talking points that y'all coming up, these memes y'all pass, I let y'all cook for a good week, man. I didn't say shit. I saw y'all all over my social media. Man. I didn't say shit. I'm like, man, look at this shit, man. Look at this shit. And I love LeBron James, but y'all being extra, man. Y'all being extra. It's an incredible career that man has been able to put together, no doubt. Is he the GOAT? To me, no. Does he have an opportunity to be so? Yes. Is he there yet? No, he's not. And I'm done.
You good, man? You know.
I mean,
you all right? You all right, man? I want to make sure you need some tissue.
I got more. Like, I mean, shit, Isaiah Thomas. I can talk about some Mike needed a number 2. Hey, dog, you won 2 championships. One of those NBA championships, your first one, Joe Dumars won the Finals MVP on that one. Like, so for Isaiah Thomas to be out here, like, on the, I'm done, man. I'm done.
My dad told me when he was young that they thought Elgin Baylor was the best player ever to play the game, right? Elgin Baylor. When Walt Frazier and all them boys with the Knicks won the championship, it was like the world turned upside down. And my dad thought Walt Frazier was the best player in the world. Well, then when, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and all them boys started playing, Bill Walton, I mean, every time you look up, and it's okay, there is always somebody better. All right. Now, to what degree? Who knows? Right? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, is known for his skyhook. They get Magic Johnson. He's the biggest point guard ever at the time to play the game. They said Magic Johnson was the best player ever. Bill, Larry Bird comes along. When it comes down to it, I agree with Horatio. Isaiah Thomas is butthurt over the Dream Team snub. Big facts. But all I'm saying is this, man. Okay. I don't want to take anything away from LeBron. And when somebody starts talking that trash like that dude was talking, you know what? I'm only going to give my energy and time to something that is worth it. And the stuff he was saying, well, Michael Jordan didn't win a game before he got Scottie Pippen. Duh. Most of these teams are trash until they get a Michael Jordan and a Scottie Pippen. I mean, there's no need to give him your anything. And at the end of the day, of course,
it wasn't just him. It wasn't just him. Like, he's the media figure. I'm talking about the people that I see every day on my Facebook, every day on Twitter.
Bro,
it's just these things.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just using him as an example. But when it comes down to it, I think LeBron, is he the GOAT? To me, no. Michael Jordan is the GOAT because he's never had a Game 7 in the finals. He's never lost a finals. That right there, the king of the hill is the person who is winning the most important games. And Mike never lost. All right. That right there, you can put that on his resume. And I heavily doubt there's too many more championship Hall of Famers who can actually say they never had a Game 7. They never lost a championship. And he three-peated twice. Okay. So the difficulty in that statement right there alone is what will always separate Mike from LeBron. LeBron is the second coming of Michael Jordan. It's no question. He's the second coming because statistically what he's done on and off the court puts him there. So I'm never going to sit here and say that LeBron is not the greatest of all time. He's just not the greatest of all time to me. Like you said earlier, you got these young kids, you got people who think Kobe is better than Mike. You got people who think LeBron is better than Mike.
My boy Trey thinks that Kobe's better than Mike. This is all the time. I'm like, man, like you do like fine motherfucking imitations, man. Like like the greatest imitations you like, you know what I'm saying?
And this conversation it's so barbershop. You know what I'm saying? It goes so many different ways. It's layered so deep. And I will definitely say that when it comes down to it, LeBron would have to do some just magical shit for me to say that he's better than Mike. I'm talking about some super duper extra, blah, 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 blah. I mean, another level. And the stuff that LeBron is doing, has it been done? No, but it's still not overshadowing Mike. And once again, I'm not taking anything away from LeBron. And Jack, you just, I think LeBron James solidified his name. LeBron James is LeBron James. That's a great statement, because for me, you don't want to be. LeBron looked up to certain basketball players, but he wanted to create his own brand and his own legacy, and that's what he's done. And that's all I got for you, man.
Yeah, I guess like again, and I've said this to Jack and a few other folks, man. I think my biggest problem with the discussion is like how we tend to do this with the revisionist history sort of thing, right? When we start going back and we start trying to figure out or pick apart like the competition that Mike had to go up against, right? And it's much like the conversation that, say, for instance, when the Bulls finally got over that hump with the Pistons, right? A lot of folks would walk around and say that like the Pistons were old when the Bulls finally beat them. It's like, no, nigga, Isaiah Thomas is 29 years old when the Bulls finally beat them. Joe Dumars is 27. Dennis Rodman was 29. They beat them soundly. They weren't like, and if we were to talk about somebody being in their prime, isn't that usually when you start talking about like somebody like starting either to like be in their prime or starting to come out of it a little bit, just a little bit? Like, yeah, the Pistons had a run, but they were still young players. And so you start talking, you start going into this revisionist shit about they didn't play anybody. Like even with the Lakers, like folks who say that the Lakers were old, like Magic Johnson was an old player. Like Magic Johnson was the MVP the year prior. Right. James Worthy still giving them 20 motherfucking points a game in the finals that year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He 18 and 20, like 18 and 10 a game. So like you start doing this revisionist history shit, and that's where I started getting upset. I'm like, all right, man, like all of this revisionist shit that y'all are doing right now in order to elevate your guy. Like I get why you're doing it, but you don't like his credentials by themselves should be what you should like be using to elevate him as your greatest of all time. Not trying to denigrate the competition, because one thing you will not hear me say is that LeBron James didn't have to play against nobody. That's a foolish motherfucking thing to say. Like it's just foolish, right? So like for them to go back and be like, well, he ain't play against nobody. All the great players is out of the league. Like, man, so Charles Barkley was whack now? Like, fucking Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, they garbage. Like Sean Kemp was defensive player of the motherfucking year. Like he trash now. Like okay, like the all-time leader in steals and assists is a trash player. Fucking the second all-time greatest scorer in the NBA is a trash player. And like you start looking at like what they talking about. Like, man, what the fuck are you even saying right now? Like, and to think that like Mike made them look like trash, maybe, but that didn't make them trash players. And so I think like I don't know. I think that's the shit that be irritating me, is like the revisionist history that people start taking on when they talk about this topic, man. I'll be like, all right, man, whatever, though. And like, and with Nick Wright specifically, like I said, Nick Wright is a motherfucking LeBron James sycophant. I don't take anything he says seriously in regards to this particular topic. I know where Nick Wright is going to be on this, and so that's what it is. But
before just to close out, it's unfair for LeBron. It really is to me to say the comparison, and I know it's gonna come, but I'm like, yo, man, let this man be great without having to put this label on him. Listen, it might be somebody out there that thinks James Harden is the GOAT right now. I don't know.
James Harden.
I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying.
James Harden is the GOAT right now.
Listen. I one of my cousins during Michael Jordan's era hated Mike, And we grew up in the same house. All right. Hated Mike.
He was a Pistons.
Oh, he loved the Pistons. He loved the Pistons.
There was some Detroit Pistons fans in Chicago. Like, I remember that.
Big time. And you know why they were, you know why they were fans? Because Isaiah Thomas was from the crib. But at the end of the day, it gave them more passion to dislike Mike. You know, but all that to say, that's another conversation. Somebody might think somebody else is the GOAT, you know, but you know, at the end of the day, but I feel sorry for LeBron. The man is true to his word, and he does his thing, man. So shout out to the Lakers. Congratulations to, you know, LeBron, AD, and the Lakers and all that Lake Show, blah blah blah. And yeah, that's all I got.
Chatty says there's a GOAT in every era, and there's an overall GOAT. LBJ is the GOAT of his era. MJ is the overall GOAT. And although I can agree with that sentiment, I'm sure there's older folks who will be like, yo, man, what about Bill Russell?
Right.
What about Will Chamberlain?
Right.
What about Kareem? You know, and they got the motherfucking numbers to, you know, to back it up. Russell, like, he's 11 fucking championships in 13 seasons. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's always that, like, that thing. And I'm going to say this for me. For me, MJ is the GOAT because he's the greatest player that I've ever seen play, right? That I've ever seen play. LeBron James, the second greatest player that I've ever seen play. Somebody older than me who actually watched Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play that game will probably be like, yo, man, like, Kareem is the greatest player of all time. If you look at, like, his college accolades, if you look at his high school leaving, like, he won 70 consecutive fucking games and stuff, like, all of that shit, like, older, like, depending on where you come in on this timeline, will probably determine who you decide is the GOAT, right? And Jackson in the chat room, he says, I'm starting to hate the GOAT label is because there's nothing you can do to change who's your favorite player. And truthfully speaking, that's what all of this is. It's all subjective, baby. It's all subjective. You know what I'm saying? We pick and choose the stats that go with our argument. That's the whole thing. But the whole point that I've been making this entire time is, like, I just hate when y'all go back in time and be like, okay, so these players are trash now, and trying to denigrate the accomplishments that Jordan made while he was in the game in order to elevate LeBron. That's the shit that irritates me, is that we retroactively all of a sudden these players are trash. That's the shit that gets on. That's the shit that gets on my nerves, bro.
Yeah, and you know what, Jack? It's funny. You just said you hate the GOAT label. That's what I'm feeling too. I hate the fact that they put this, you know, this stamp on his forehead. You know, well, Ron the GOAT. It's like, yo, this dude is doing things, man. Once again, that nobody has done before. You know, prime example. I never forget when my cousin was in the NBA. Magic Johnson got a big contract from the LA Lakers, and they said Magic Johnson got the biggest contract ever. 25 years, 25 million. Oh my God. Are you serious? 25 years, 25 million. And they thought it was the biggest contract of life. Here, LeBron is getting 38 million on the year. Things evolve. Things get bigger, better, and greater. And at the end of the day, that's what's happening. And guess what? It's gonna be that. What'd you say?
I didn't say anything. Somebody's calling the hotline right now, and I'm trying to pull it up, but okay, they hung up. Call back if you can. I can't, like, for whatever reason this thing wasn't ringing on a computer. But go ahead and call back.
What was the number?
Area code 313-288-04. I can't see the number because it just rings on my phone as the hotline. I don't know what number.
No, a few people hit me, and I gave them the number, so I was just going to see who the number was.
Yeah, I can't see who the number is unless they call in on here now.
Oh, they about to call back now. Back now. Hold on. Let's see. We gotta get your technology together, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't have the Google Hangouts up, so, like, it wasn't ringing on my computer, but it was ringing on my phone. And
that's how you got it hooked up. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. Well, guess what? When it comes down to it, Michael Jordan is the best player of all time. You understand what I'm saying? Period. That's ain't nothing else to talk about.
So here we go. This coming from the 708 numbers. Okay. Yo, you're on with the Beer and Chicken Podcast. What's going on? Hello? Hello? Oh, they're not saying nothing now. Voicemail. Let me go ahead. Let me see if I can play voicemail real quick. Because we did get a call while we were talking. So let's see what they're talking about here.
Man, I wanted to lie. This is Cliff Bailey III calling about this tired subject of Mike versus LeBron. Yeah, we'll never see it, and we'll never know. But how LeBron would have fared against Detroit, the Knicks, Indiana. But that's like saying who will win, Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson. Come on, man. It's different eras. Mike was the man then, LeBron's the man now. In today's game, Mike would average 50. If LeBron went back to Mike's era, he may average 20. But that's yet to be said, down there be seen. But anyway, if I can get live, let me know. I'll be around. Call me back. Bye.
All right. So here's the other part about that. Like, that's the thing too. Like, I think Mike would probably average like damn near 40 in this league if he was in his prime, right? I think he would do that. I wouldn't say that LeBron James would only average 20 in the like the late 80s, early 90s. I wouldn't say that. I think LeBron James would be dope in the late 80s, early 90s too. I think he would get his shit then, right? And that's the thing. Like, I think that both of those guys, I think both of them will be great in like today's game, like both of them. And we get another call here. This from 901. I think that's a Memphis area code. Who calling us from Memphis? Oh shit.
That's Shay.
I already answered the call. Like, I don't understand why it's not answering the shit. Yeah, I don't understand why it's not picking up. What the fuck? The technology is failing us right now, man.
It's still.
All right. Who this? Hello.
Dude, what's going on with you? Hey.
Who this is?
Hi. This is April Bailey.
Like, I got 208 numbers calling in right now. Like, what is this? What's happening?
So tell us, April. Who's better, LeBron or Mike? Hello?
Huh?
Can you hear us?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear. Okay. I don't know who I'm talking to.
This is Span. You calling into the Beer and Chicken Podcast.
I call into who?
The Beer Podcast.
Oh, okay.
Did you dial the wrong number?
I got a message to call this number in my opinion on whether or not Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James.
Okay, so I'm gonna assume that Cliff sent you the message to how you call in, and you're on the podcast.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so you're on the podcast.
And you're live. You're live
on the show. So what
oh my God. Okay.
So
okay, well, let me tell you this. I'm Cliff's mother. Okay.
Oh, hey, mama. Hey, mama. How you
doing? I'm good. Well, I'll just say this much. No one in the world is better than Michael.
Okay.
I don't even know if LeBron knows how to play basketball, but no one in the world is better than Michael.
All right, mama.
Boom. Okay.
That's funny.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
Okay, so you don't need to ask anybody else. I've answered the question for everyone.
That's it. Conversation over.
Okay. Well, I did as I was instructed, so.
Thank you, Mama.
All right, can she hear me?
Okay, have a nice evening. All right, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, man.
Black Mama's opinions matter. Debate is over.
Hey man, pack up your GI Joes. The game is over. We going home, man. Just man, the technology was failing when it came through. It came through.
So the calls, they can't hear me.
I don't know why, but yeah, I'm assuming it's because everything is running through my computer right now. I don't understand why they can't hear you though. I really don't. But yeah, man, it's time for us to get on up out of here. But of course, before we do, y'all know what we do.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
All right, Cliff, what you winging it on tonight?
Sorry. Actually, two more people tried calling in too.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just gonna wing it on what I was gonna talk about anyway. The Lakers, man. I'm happy to say I'm happy that Anthony Davis got a championship ring. I love when hometown gets a ring. I love when, you can say that this person, actually earned it. He actually earned it. There are some people on the Lakers who didn't do a goddamn thing, but they got a ring. But hey, that's how it goes. But
and is when it comes to championships. It's always some nigga in the bench like,
yeah, good job, ring.
Shout out to Dennis Hobson.
Deion Waiters didn't do shit, but no, at the end of the day, man, shout out to AD, man. Much deserved. To be able to get a ring, man. Anytime one of the Chicago natives gets a ring, and the fact that he did it with LeBron, man, just a good moment for me. And Judd Bushler. Well, I meant to say Judd Bushler, not Belcher, but I know you talking about, Jack. That's all I had, man. I'm just happy to see that he was able to get a ring, man. And he still has time. He still has time to get more. So
indeed.
Simple enough.
All right. Now, I'm winging it on the NFL. And I know we were just talking about like the scores and everything earlier in the game about, the teams who are winning, who was losing, this, that, and the other. Me being 4-1 in NFL fantasy football, having not even watched the fucking game. But we didn't talk about this during the show, and I thought we probably would, but we kind of got, involved in the GOAT shit again. But like the you actually sent me the story about this the New England Patriots and the players been diagnosed with COVID-19 or tested positive for the coronavirus. And we're looking at an NFL who has opted not to quarantine their players, who has opted to, as opposed to doing something like that, to just saying, fuck it, put them out of we'll postpone this game, we'll put this player out for 2 weeks, and we'll keep the ball rolling. I don't know if we're going to see the end of the NFL season this year. I don't know if they're going to actually play a full season. At some point, we have to recognize that, like, yo, man, this pandemic is a real motherfucker thing. I'm seeing crowds at some of these NFL games. I know they call themselves socially distancing the crowds, but it's still added motherfucking, people who could be infected, who could be breathing, like the whole shit. And so I don't know if we'll see the end of the NFL season resulting in a champion as far as there being a Super Bowl is concerned. But what I did want to say to that was, like, kudos to the NBA, because I was one who did not think it was possible for the NBA to do exactly what it was that they did, was to finish their regular season, to have an entire fucking playoff season play out, and not have one COVID-19 diagnosis in that bubble. And so for them to be able to pull that off was motherfucking amazing. And I was also one of those folks who wondered whether or not you should put an asterisk on the championship as to whoever won the championship in that bubble. Championship is a championship. Shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers for winning their 17th. Shout out to LeBron James for winning his 4th. But to see the disparities in how these leagues are handling this pandemic at this time, I just wanted to kind of compare how the NFL was handling it to how the NBA was handling it. And I think the NBA knocked this shit completely out of the fucking park, man. So shout out to the NBA for doing that and for completing their season and crowning the champion. I don't know if we're going to see the same thing happening in the NFL, considering how they're handling things. But yo, man, it's time for us to get on up out of here. But of course, before we do, let me remind you guys how to get over here at the Beer and Chicken Podcast. Let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit us up on our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages, and of course, we'll play those voicemails and reply to those here live on the show. You can also email us here at feedback@thespanreport.com. That's feedback@thespanreport.com. Leave us those emails, and of course, we'll read and reply to those emails here live on the show as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Span. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with me. And how can they get in touch with you, homie?
DJ Neff Music on Twitter and on Instagram. Holla at me. Get at me.
Indeed. Also, hit us up on our website, www.thespanreport.com. You can go there. You can watch replays of the show if YouTube don't fuck with us. Watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Beer and Chicken Podcast, man. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime. Just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Span Report Podcast Network and the Beer and Chicken Podcast specifically, man. But yo, man, it's time for us to roll. Shout out to the homeboy Cliff for rocking with us again tonight, episode 78. And shout out to the chat room for like chopping it up with us. Shout out to everybody who called in, man, including Mama Bailey, man. Shout out to her as well. And we'll talk to you guys again next time.
All right, yo. All right, bro.
Yes, sir. Peace out, y'all.